Hello and welcome to the podcast for the recently diagnosed, which is about my journey with Parkinson's disease. I am recently diagnosed about 2 years ago now with Parkinson's disease, although I've noticed symptoms for a while. I am not a medical professional, so nothing in this video is to be construed as medical advice. So got those things out of the way. Wanted to talk today about the non-physical symptoms, or not the non-physical, but non-visible symptoms of Parkinson's disease. A lot of people immediately associate Parkinson's disease with dyskinesia, which is like the kind of snake-like movement of when I sort of am reminded of Axl Rose when he dances on stage. He does not have Parkinson's, at least that I'm aware of anyway, but does that kind of snaky move, which you sometimes see people with Parkinson's disease having, or the tremors, which are visible. I mean, I have tremors. If you look at my hand, it tremors pretty good, sometimes better, sometimes not as much, but I tend to tremor if I'm not anchored into some point, like having my hand in my pocket or some way of disguising it. But nonverbal, see, this is my mental process. My non-visible disease, or things that you might not see at all. For me, especially, it is cognition. And part of that is I have issues dealing with recall and doing complex cognitive functioning, which is part of what I do for a living. Actually, I'm a software analyst, and I've been having a lot of trouble doing my job. There's certain aspects of my job where I just kind of look at the computer screen, because I'm on a computer a lot, and am just drawing blank. I mean, like, I really have no idea where to go at all. And luckily I have super supportive teammates who have been helping me, like I've been doing the more rote functionality. But if you see me walking around, you wouldn't think that I have any sort of disability, because you can't tell that my cognition is not what it used to be. I don't have any trouble with day-to-day things with cognition any more than any other person in their 60s does. I, sometimes forget names and faces and can't remember where my keys are, but I think that stuff's been going on for many years and maybe has nothing to do with Parkinson's. Other things that you probably don't think about are things with speech. So speech is about muscle movement. I recently saw a video, an MRI, of someone's mouth and tongue as they were vocalizing, and it was amazing the amount of movement that goes on inside your head that you don't even think about, that between your throat and your mouth and your tongue and your jaws and all the stuff that goes on just to talk. And Parkinson's impacts muscle functionality and causes tremors and whatnot. So one thing that people have trouble with is stuttering, or not being able to speak at all because you have some freezing going on, or the muscles inside your mouth and throat are not functioning the way that you would hope they would, and words just aren't forming, or maybe completely inappropriate words, or not inappropriate meaning, something similar to Tourette's, but more just the word that you're trying to say is not coming out at all, and a different word comes out, and you're like, at least for me, immediately I think, well, that's not the word. What I want is, then I have to hesitate and try to remember the word. So, sometimes speech is impacted. Definitely swallowing is a big thing in the Parkinson's community, where people have issues, drinking fluids or eating, because the functionality, which again comes down to muscles in your throat, not functioning the way you want them to. So swallowing is an issue, and tied into that, although not that, is overproduction of saliva. So imagine you have, there's some people who have a lot of issue with drooling. I'm glad at this point I don't have that. I think I have a little bit of overproduction of saliva, but luckily it's contained, and that's not anything that I'm so concerned with at this time. But if you think about somebody who maybe has these things going on, like they have trouble swallowing, they have overproduction of saliva, it's things that you don't know. So somebody could pull into a handicapped parking space, for example, and they looked just like anybody else, and you think, why are they in a handicapped spot? They're not handicapped. And there are a lot of non-visible things. Another thing that I have issue with is balance. I don't have a heavy amount of balance issue. I do a lot of exercise using a Bosu ball to help with my balance. Hopefully it's use it or lose it sort of thing. So I try to do balancing exercises a lot. So I don't have so much issue with that, but I also have another thing, which is foot drag. So as I'm walking, especially on my left side, because that's the side that's most impacted for me, I sometimes have my left foot just drag the ground like I don't pick up as much as I should. And about, I want to say a year ago or so, I was on a run. That was when I was still able to run. And I hit a bump with my left foot and just went down like hard. And really, luckily, it was only about a half a block from my house. So I was able to limp back to the house. But that was pretty much the last time I ran. I'm thinking about trying running again. And I was doing in high intensity interval training at that point, where I was kind of doing a faster sprint and then a slow run. And it was during that fast sprint phase, almost at the end of my run. So my legs were tired, I guess. It wasn't like a long run. It was only 2 miles. But I think just the impact of trying to do that higher speed, which is good for your heart rate and respiration and all that sort of stuff, was not good in combination with what's going on for me. So I might be able to do like a really slow run, which I really miss running. So that might be a good thing. But I also have what feels to me like arthritis. And I know that it's not arthritis because it's only in the left side of my body. And it mostly is in my left hand and my left foot. And it just feels like my foot hurts a lot when it's at certain angles, and it just is very painful. And sometimes I get cramping in my foot, like my foot clenches up. And the other thing with my hand, my left hand, is in the morning when I wake up before I take a Sinemet, I can't make a fist. Even now, like if I try to close my hand and make a fist, I feel pain all in my fingers and down the back of my hand, which I don't feel that at all on my right side. So it's tied into the Parkinson's disease. So here, I've listed a few things that are, invisible symptoms, if you want to call it, or things that people just don't know. So just want to keep people aware that Parkinson's and other diseases, neurological diseases, can have impact on people that is not visible. So be kind out there and just, don't jump to any conclusions. So that's today's episode of my Parkinson journey. I hope you enjoyed it, learned something. If you have questions, please feel free to comment.